Hello, I'm professional artist and art instructor Daphne Cote, and today on our live tutorial we're going to be using pencil crayons, a black pen, maybe a pencil if you need it, and a white eraser, and we are going to create a drawing of a tree. Let's see here, bigger reference image. Let's just scooch down here. There we go. So you can see our reference image is of these lovely trees, and we are going to we're going to focus today on creating a composition and about complementary colors and just about design in general, and we're going to have lots of fun with this. So this is a great one to do with your family, with kids, with adults, simple supplies, and just a really great time. So let's get started. What I would like to do is I've got my black pen here, and I want to start by creating, you know what, let's just step back one second, and you know what, I'm gonna test the audio because it says that it's working, but I should probably listen in and hear it here, make sure that everybody's got it. And please feel free to use the chat or leave comments. Oh, there we go, perfect. So thanks for letting me take a minute to test that out. Okay, let's get back to our drawing. Okay, so I have got the black marker, a black pen, and you can use whatever you've got lying around, and I'm just going to draw a bunch of lines like that, and then I'm going to have them cross over and go at the bottom. So I'm just creating a frame for my composition that's kind of interesting. So you can see there's a bunch of lines here. They don't have to be straight. It's just to create basically a little picture frame for our composition. A little bit of a design element. There we go. And now I want to draw in these trees. Now, let's see here. I'm going to use a pencil, and I'm just going to put them in really lightly. So I'm going to start just looking at the biggest shapes, the biggest tree trunks, and I want it a little bit bigger there. The great thing about drawing things that are organic is that they're never really that straight or perfect. So you need to be a little bit curved and a little bit off. Whoop, that's a little bit of a wonky line. There we go. All right, so you need to have 3 trees in there. Just like that. Okay, then we're going to take our black marker or black pen, and we're going to draw along those lines. So we're kind of creating this like graphic image with black lines. And then, let's see here. I also see one, a few little ones. So that are a bit thinner. But they don't go all the way to the top. They kind of just get covered in leaves. And then there's this one back here, and you just see a top of it, and there's a break here because the leaves, if you look at the image, the leaves kind of go in between here, so I'm leaving space for that. And then we have this one here that curves. And goes something like that. But what also happens is that there's leaves right about here that cut into it. So right about there is where I decided to put them. And there's another little tree that comes in behind here. Okay, so I've got a few more like little trees, little trunks in behind here. And I'm going to put them in. And when you're using the pen, it's like you get to redraw it a little bit. Get a second chance. There we go. Now what I want to do is on the 3 big trunks, those are closer to us. So I want to just make the lines, the black lines, a little bit thicker. So that it gives that sense that they are closer to us, that we can see more. So that's a great like cartooning technique or design technique. So if you are into doing more stylized cartoons, or if your kids are into like anime or that type of stuff, things that are closer often have thicker lines around them. like that. So now you can kind of see that the thicker lines make them feel like they're closer, and the thinner lines make these little skinnier tree trunks feel like they're farther back. Now we've got all of these little notches in these trees. So we get to start using our black pen to fill those in. And all of these lines and little doodaddy things are going to be curved. They're not going to be straight because the surface is curved. So we're trying to define the surface as well with those lines. I'm not going to put in as many as there actually are, because then it might look a little too full and silly because my pen is wide. So I just use the image as inspiration. So it doesn't have to be exact, it's just some inspiration. So I draw what's there, but I omit some extra stuff that I think might make it look a little too busy or a little too much. I draw the stuff that's fun. There we go. And then we've got another one right here. And make things a little bit too small, especially when you're working straight with the pen, because you can't erase pen. And then if you need to, you can always make it bigger. So I don't want to fall in the trap of making the same pattern and shape over and over again. So I think about like varying the sizes of these little knot things. I'm sure that's the technical term for these things, knot things. Well, I hope everybody can subscribe to my channel as I keep doing all of these lives, and I'm going to be coming out with some more like time-lapsed videos, and I'm going to be offering some painting workshops online, as well as some more in-depth technical drawing workshops. So you can stay in the loop. You can also visit my website and sign up for my newsletter so that you can stay in the loop of with all the interesting things that I'm doing online nowadays, so I can reach more people. And everybody can build their skills at home this one down here so it's a little bit more spaced out. All right, so we've got all these little knots, branch mark type things all in there. And then I'm going to start adding some branches in the background and some things to these trees. So these ones you don't see a lot of detail because they're farther away. But you have these like branches that kind of come out of nowhere because there's so many leaves surrounding them. Some scraggly lines. So I'm just drawing along here. So there's some trees that you can see bits of back here. So I'm just drawing in bits and pieces of branches here and there. Again, I'm just using the image as my reference and my inspiration. So it's not exact, but it's still not straight out of my head because we're not that smart to make that stuff up on our own. We need to study it first. So we've got all of those little lines and marks. And now we need to dig into some pencil crayons. I think for a majority of this, I'm going to be using, I have a pack of Prismacolors here. I'm going to be using a light green and a yellow for most of it. You know what, actually, yeah, let's do that. Let's start with that. And then, sorry, I'm just thinking here, color-wise, getting new inspiration from that reference photo. Okay, so just sharpening. There's all those like fancy dancy sharpeners, but these like little Stedler sharpeners are just fantastic, so reliable and super durable. Okay, let's get started with, so we're basically just scribbling around, getting these little, like, we're trying to mimic the shapes and the way that the leaves kind of are. So I'm kind of doing a circular motion. You can see that I hold my pencil a little bit differently. It's easier on my wrist and on my, I use my whole arm in order to draw, and I'm using the side of the pencil, so I always have a sharp edge. It just depends on how I lift my hand. And so using the side of the pencil, I can actually cover more area with color faster than if I was just using it right on its end. So I just have to remember not to go over top of my tree trunks here. So I'm really happy that it's becoming spring and that we can start to really get outside. I'm up in Alberta, and it was really cold last week, so now that it's March, it's starting to warm up, and my favorite time of year is spring. So I'm quite excited. I can't wait for new leaves to get poking out. And so although this image that we're using is quite yellow, I'm gonna make it a little bit greener because that's my artistic license. I've given myself one as an artist, and I'm gonna use it. Okay, so one of the things that is happening, why I had taken a pause a little bit before, is that there's some areas at the top of the reference photo up in here, so yeah, up in these areas where you can see a bit of the sky coming through. So I'm going to take a purple crayon and I'm going to draw really lightly some areas of sky peeking through. And this is the thing where we're going to do some color blending. creating interesting shapes that are that I'm being inspired to draw by the actual reference photo here. So it's not just out of my head. So there's a few spots here, and I colored them in with purple, but now I want to go over top of those with a light blue. I don't know, can you see that? Should I change the lighting a little bit? There you go. You can see the color a little bit better. And I think that they're just a little too light, so or not light enough, and they need to be blended more, so I can use a white to lighten it up and to blend it. So can you see the difference there of using the white to go over versus not? So these ones I have not gone over. It does make a bit of a difference. So, and you'll probably see it more when you're doing it at home and experimenting on your own. Okay. Now I want to take the yellow and pretty much fill in the rest. So I've created a lot of the texture with the green. I want some more over here. And you know what? I'm going to fill in a little bit more green, just lighter, so when I go over with the yellow, it still stays a bit of a green. So again, just going over really lightly, not going over top of the tree trunks. All right, and now going in with the yellow. And filling all those spaces in again. It's much faster if I hold my pencil this way. And when you hold your pencil in a different way, it feels weird for the first like 3 to 5 drawings. And then it becomes a little bit more natural. And holding your pencil this way is really effective when you have a drawing board. When you lift the, when you clip your paper onto a board and then prop it up at a bit of an angle, it's a lot easier on your hand and on your eyes, on your back. But it's hard to get good camera angles that way though too, so I've got to draw flat for you. But most of the time I would draw up on an angle. A lot of the really simple tablet holders or iPad holders are great for holding books as well, or sketchbooks, or your drawing pad. So, or you can just take computer paper, which is what this is, what I'm using, and then like printer paper, and just clip it or tack it to a book, and hardcover book, and have at her. So now it's really starting to take shape and to take form here. Went a little bit over the line. Just take my white eraser and get in there. But I'm really enjoying how these lines that we first started out with just to frame the composition are working out. Getting close to, but not over top of, because if you get the yellow over top of that blue, it's gonna turn a weird green, and it's gonna look a bit odd. So, okay, now we need to sharpen that yellow pencil. Okay, back at it. Filling all of that in. Just erase the yellow out of here. Fill this in. Okay, so we've got all of the green leaves, yellowish leaves all filled in the background here. And now we want to add some stuff for these tree trunks. And you'll notice that they are quite blue. And then what happens, so we've got right up here, they're quite blue, and on either side of the trunk it's lighter. because the light is coming through the background. So it's backlit type of thing. So it's coming in from behind. So on either side, it's going to be light, and then the middle, it's going to be a little bit darker. So we're just going to take our light blue pencil crayon. Hopefully we have a dark blue as well. And just color in these really lightly. Color in the trunks really lightly. Okay, so I've got a dark blue and a black pencil crayon to help us make some grays and some purples. So yeah, let's actually, we will use a purple as well. So we'll take the purple, and only on the small trunks will we go and put the purple, and only in the middle. We want to leave the edges that light blue. So just in the middle. Just in the middle. And on some of these I'm going quite dark because they don't have as much light on them. And it helps to build up that contrast with purple, because purple is the complementary color to yellow. So it'll give it a bit of a contrast. And then I'm going to add a little bit of black, just lightly, to that, because I'm color mixing. You can mix colors with pencil crayon. It doesn't have to stay the color that you put it on. You can mix right on the surface by layering the colors together. All right, now I want to take the darker blue and put it on here. Now you'll notice that above these little notches, some of them catch light, so you might want to leave a little bit of space. I don't know if you can see that. Leave a little bit of space above and then start coloring in below. And again, only down the center. So I'm going to leave a little space above that one, go around. So it kind of emphasizes the texture of the tree. on this one, there's more, the line goes more down on this right side than the left. So there's more light showing on the left side. That. And then the same thing on this one here. It's more to one side. And they seem to be a little bit darker at the bottom than at the top. So I'm going to just push a little bit harder down there. Okay, and then I'm going to go over with the black. Just a little bit. And then I'm going to go over with that light blue again. Just to make it a little bit bluer. Hope you can see that all right. The lighting is, oof. There you go. See the difference in color a little bit. Let's take some more blue in the little branches as well, or the little trunks. I just really like the way that these types of techniques and looking at things help you to create that three-dimensional feel. That there is a rounded object, that there's light and shadow happening. All right, so I feel like that's done. So I'm gonna just sign my name, March 2020. There we go. Filled that in. So I hope that you guys enjoyed yourselves, and there we go. And thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Please send me images of your drawings that you do with me. I do have other drawing tutorials online. And please, if you'd like to sign up for my newsletter, leave a message or a comment and I'll get back to you. And if you have any questions, please feel free. Post them and I'd love to answer them. If you have any requests for future tutorial subjects that you'd like to see, let me know. And I hope that you guys have a great day. I hope this sparked some creativity in you today, and I hope that it got you picking up some pencils and doing something. Thinking creatively again. When we do art, when we start to look at the world around us, interpret things, whether it's colors, lines, shapes, composition, it just starts to fire all these different synapses in our minds and makes us think a little bit more clearly, especially when we're trying to work out different situations in our lives and doing some problem solving. It really helps engage our minds, and it's a learned skill that everyone can figure out how to be creative. So I hope that this helped, and I hope that you got something from it. Again, please subscribe, like, share it with your friends. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you, and have a great day.